Hi everybody, my name is Haley Colseth and I'm a senior editor at Mountain Vista Media. On behalf of our whole program, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight to support the voices of students at this school and K-12 students in Douglas County. The MV Media staff members know very well the importance of giving all students a voice, especially when it comes to what is going on in a political environment that directly affects all of our lives. I also want to thank the candidates for coming tonight. We appreciate your participation, and we certainly appreciate your willingness to lead the third largest school district in Colorado and the 56th largest district in the country. It's important to note that there are 68,000 students and 8,700 employees who count on the elected board of directors to set a vision for a 21st century education, establish policy to ensure students are safe and prepared for their futures, and manage a $680 million budget. But no pressure or anything. The purpose of tonight is for each candidate to have an opportunity to answer questions created solely by students. Unlike a debate, there will not be time for the candidates to respond to each other's questions. And please try to be respectful and wait until the candidates have finished talking before you start to clap. On our website, VistaNow.org, you will find a guide to tonight's forum. You can view during the forum or later for more information. If you're interested in viewing the event after tonight, it is currently being live streamed and will be archived on youtube.com/VistaNow. Our candidates from left to right are Ryan Abish, Anthony Graziano, Randy Mills, Chris Shore, Grant Nelson, Kevin Lung, Deva Scheffel, and Krista Holtzman. In a minute, they're all going to make their opening statements, so I'm going to begin with Mr. Ryan Abish. And then just there's the mic if you could pass it down. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Abish, and I am running for Douglas County School Board in District B this fall. And before I begin, I just want to thank all of you for coming out this evening. Thank the school, the students, the teachers, and the staff for helping put this forum together so all of us candidates could come out here this evening and talk your ears off about the election we have coming up this November for the school board. And a little bit about me. I am the proud father of a 6-year-old girl. She's currently enrolled in the 1st grade in one of Douglas County's public charter schools. I'm also the proud husband of a young lady who was raised in the district here in Douglas County, even went to school at Douglas County High School. And as a young family, as young parents, education plays a really big part of our lives. In fact, before I came out here, I had to pick up my daughter from school and help her with her math homework before I could run out here and talk to all of you this evening. And I think that part of the reasons that Douglas County is so attractive to people, especially young people like my wife and I, is the excellent school district that we have here and the tradition of educational excellence that we've maintained over the years. And that's something we should all really be proud of. Professionally, I have a background in law. I'm a Colorado licensed attorney. I work as a legal research analyst for an online publishing company. I work with a wide variety of people all over the country and all over the world on a daily basis. And before doing that, I worked as a deputy district attorney in Pueblo, Colorado for 4 years. So I know what it's like to work in a high pressure environment. I know what it's like to work for the public and work at the local level. And I think that my skill set as a young parent, as an attorney, and working in and out of the courtrooms would lend itself well to a district that's faced a little bit of dissension over the previous years. And that's why I'm running. I want to help work through that, and I want to help us get to what's important. And that's our children, and making sure that we're expanding and improving the educational opportunities that exist for them in this district so we can be confident that we're helping to train up the people who are going to be the leaders of Colorado tomorrow and in the future. So once again, I'm Ryan Abish, and thank you all very much for your time this evening.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Graziano, and as a Castleview High School Sabercat dad, it's great to be welcomed here into Golden Eagle territory. And it's also great to see some new faces, as well as a lot of school board groupies here who love coming to these debates. It's fantastic. I'm a 13-year resident here in Douglas County. I have a master's degree in education from CSU, and I am a director of business development in the information technology field. I have two lovely daughters, one who just graduated from Castleview and another who is a freshman. My wife of 20 years is very active in our community, both in the schools and also as a volunteer at a nonprofit in town. I myself have been very active in my daughter's schools over the last 13 years as a volunteer, and we've also had the opportunity to host 3 different foreign exchange students the last 3 years who lived with us and also attended Castleview High School. A couple years back, our family took a trip around the world where we traveled to about 20 countries. It was an amazing experience, something that I will never forget and will treasure forever. In that time, we realized that Douglas County was unmatched to anywhere in the world. In the last 8 years, though, I've seen the quality of our schools go down a little bit. And in this time, we've lost a lot of great teachers. We focused on non-student-focused initiatives, such as a $16 million software project. And we need to kind of regain our focus as to what really is important in Douglas County. I'm ready to put students first, restore the quality of our schools, and ensure financial accountability across all things in our schools. In my experience building consensus and helping partners and customers gain value, I think I can add a lot around being a consensus builder, listening, and serving our community well. As a parent, active volunteer in our schools, and an engaged citizen here in Douglas County, I want to listen and serve so that Douglas County becomes the best possible district it can. My name again is Anthony Graziano, and I'm here tonight to earn your vote.
Good evening, I'm Randy Mills. I am a 34-year resident here in Douglas County, and thank you so much, Mountain Vista, for hosting this and giving us an opportunity to share our perspectives, our beliefs, and our passions. I have 2 daughters. I have 2 dogs. I have a whole gackle, I'm not sure if that's correct, of goats, and a herd of horses. We grew up our first 21 years right here in Highlands Ranch, and then we moved south to the Castle Rock area. Both of my daughters came up K through 12 in the fantastic Douglas County school system. Hannah attended right here at Mountain Vista through half of her senior year and then open enrolled down into Douglas County High. That experience has been very positive. That experience is an experience that I want to have an opportunity to have a voice in to carry on for our future kids and students that are coming up in Douglas County. Choice has been an important role for my daughters. As I mentioned, open enrollment allowed Hannah to move to Douglas County High, participate in FFA and 4-H. And for my youngest, Madeline, who happens to be last year's Miss Rodeo Colorado, she took the last 2 years as the first graduating class in E-Online here in Douglas County. So I would like to champion for those opportunities, those parental options for great schools, and for the very best preparation for our kids and our students that they deserve, with some amazing teachers, very talented and passionate teachers. I come up in a teacher family. My mom and my dad both were instructors and educators in the Department of Defense, and I look forward for that opportunity to be a good steward and with leadership on the Douglas County School Board. Again, my name is Randy Mills. Thank you very much.
Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you, Mountain Vista students, parents, teachers, and administrators. And thank you, audience, for listening to my cranky voice for the next couple of days. I'm Chris Shore. My husband and I are both Colorado natives, and we've lived in Castle Rock for over 20 years. I have 4 children who graduated from Douglas County High School. I have 6 grandchildren. I have 7 grandchildren, but 6 go to school in Castle Rock. Excuse me. I'm a lifelong educator, and I have a long history in Douglas County. I started teaching at Acres Green in 1977. While my 4 children were young, I had an in-home private preschool. I returned to work at Rockridge as a kindergarten first and second grade teacher. I then became the assistant principal at Pine Lane Intermediate and the principal at Castle Rock Elementary for 12 years. I went to work in a school where I grew up, in Mapleton Public Schools, for the last several years, and 4 years as the principal. I currently train principals, assistant principals, and teachers. I am retired. I'm also involved in a new initiative program to increase engagement in career and technological education in MPS, Mapleton Public Schools, where I grew up. I'm running for school board because I value our students and educators, and I want our school district to become the best it can be. I'll use my leadership experiences as a Board of Education member to work together for common goals for students first, quality schools, and financial accountability in every decision. I'm firmly committed to serving our students, our families, our teachers, and our community as a Douglas County School Board member. My grandchildren and the 68,000 other children who go to school in Douglas County deserve that. That's why I'm running for school board, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening. My name is Grant Nelson, and I'm running for the Douglas County School Board. I appreciate all of you coming out tonight, and I appreciate the Mountain Vista staff and the students for setting this up. So far, I think this is our fourth one, and we have nice chairs, and they've done a nice job setting this up, so we appreciate that. I'm a second-generation native, grew up in Evergreen. I'm a third-generation graduate of the University of Colorado at Boulder. My wife and I moved to Douglas County in 1993. At the time, I think there's only 67,000 people. Now there's over 320. We've seen the growth come, and we've done some things right, and we've done some things wrong in the county that we got to make sure that as we move forward in the future, we do right. So I have 3 children. 2 of them attend Rock Canyon High School. One attends Rocky Heights Middle School. All 3 of them went to American Academy. So we've experienced both neighborhood and charter schools. By work, I am a commercial real estate developer. I've developed about 3 million square feet of shopping center space in multiple states with Walmart, Costco, Lowe's, Home Depot, Kohl's, King Soopers, and Starbucks, who's the hardest of them all. The collaboration, coordination, and it's really difficult to build them because in the communities that you go into in a big company, a lot of times it's hard to make those 2 round pegs go into the same square hole. So I've spent a lot of time with big retailers trying to get them to understand the ways of moving into a community, and the success is that those tenants are now open. I was the state director of the International Council of Shopping Centers for the last 4 years, government relations chair before that, and I sit on the Colorado Real Estate Alliance board. I recently bought an interest in a finance company that we provide PACE loans for property assessed clean energy. I'm running for Douglas County School Board because our schools need stable, sound leadership. We need people who understand complex issues and can deal with them. We need to work together as a community to solve these problems. Again, my name is Grant Nelson, and I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. This is a wonderful program that you have in Mountain Vista. I am so proud of your Eagle Eye publications, which won the National Pacemaker Award, which is a really, really great honor. And that's the reason why I placed a lot of egg in your school newspaper to support you. My name is Kevin Leung. I'm running for the Douglas County School Board because I want all Douglas County students to have the same opportunity I have had to live the American dream through quality educations and hard work. I'm a successful local business owner. I actually own a business down there at the Highlands Ranch, Parker, and Aurora, and have volunteered on the state, district, and my kids' school accountability for the past 12 years. In fact, I'm the only Douglas County parent that currently serves in the state's education committee. My lovely wife and I live in Douglas County for over 26 years. Our 3 children all together have studied in charter school for 6 years and over 20 years in neighborhood school. I have an MBA and a Master in Computer Science from University of Colorado, and I was a teacher who taught at Regis University. Douglas County School must recruit and retain high-quality teachers. For 2012, when they implement this modified pay-for-performance program, is when we see the teacher leaving the school district at mass. In 5 years, we jump from 10% to 20% of teachers that leaving the school district. And such turnover is not good. The second reason I'm running is I want the school district to provide adequate resources to support our children with the goal of improving academic achievement. Our school district used to have the state's highest achievement accreditations called Accredited with Distinctions. It has since lost it. And my name is Kevin Leung, and if I get elected, I will try to resolve those problems. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Scheffel, and thank you for coming out on a Thursday evening to talk a little bit about education. I got into education because I saw my aunt teach elementary kids and also special needs kids, and it really animated my imagination as to the difference you could make in the lives of children and really our community, our state, and the next generation. So I've been a teacher for a number of years. I taught in Douglas County. They actually the district gave me my very first job. And I just have great fond memories of that and very proud of the work we did together those years. Still keep in touch with some of those teachers and remember great after-school meetings where we were trying to figure out how do we best meet the needs of students. Summertime when we'd get together and plan for the new academic year. And so we know that teachers are the centerpiece of a great educational experience for each child. And I appreciate the role that teachers play in Douglas County, and am a teacher myself. I am currently the Dean of the School of Education at Colorado Christian University, preparing teachers to go into classrooms and work with each child so that he or she can be successful. I got my master's degree at the University of Denver, my doctorate at Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, did postdoctoral work at the University of California, San Diego, all wrapped around the issue of how do kids learn, what happens when they struggle to learn, and what can we do to provide the very best programming to help teachers be successful with each child and to help each child have a great, wonderful educational experience. I served on the Colorado State Board of Education for 6 years, a volunteer position. My term ended in fall of 2017, and that was a great opportunity to serve on a board, to serve the public in a volunteer position. We had essential oversight over all the districts in the state, worked on policy issues that are so essential to laying the groundwork for excellent education in all of Colorado, and specifically in Douglas County. I'm running for the Douglas County School Board because I want every child to be able to thrive and succeed in our county, in our schools, because I want parents to have choices, and because I want teachers to be able to do their very best professional work. Thank you so much again for hosting this event tonight, and I'm Deborah Scheffel. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
First, I want to say thank you to the Mountain Vista High School students who gave us this opportunity to be here tonight and speak to you. And thanks to all of you for giving us your time tonight to listen to us talk about our hopes for the Douglas County School District. My name is Krista Holtzman, and my husband and I have been married for 23 years. We've lived in the same house in Parker for the past 17. We have 2 sons who both began kindergarten at Pine Grove Elementary and graduated from high school at Chaparral in 2015 and 2016. And while our children were in school, my family and I were and continue to be so grateful for the partnership that we had with their teachers. They met the unique needs of both of our children, and they gave them the educational opportunities they needed to reach their full potential. This is what every child deserves. Professionally, I'm an attorney with a degree in child development, and I really enjoyed my time as a preschool teacher. I've spent the majority of my career, though, which I've also enjoyed, as an attorney working as a child advocate. I've done that in various ways, such as assistant state's attorney working in child protection, and most recently as a volunteer attorney at the Rocky Mountain Children's Law Center. And while Jake and Will were in school, I had the opportunity to be in their classrooms quite a bit, and I volunteered at their after-school activities. I think they probably saw me more than they wanted sometimes. I was on the school accountability committee at each of the schools they attended, and as an active school volunteer over the past 8 years, I have really noticed the increasing challenges that our schools, our teachers, and our students have faced with the reforms that have happened. So I'm running for school board because I'd like to give back to a community that gave my own children so much, and I know that there are 68,000 students who need and deserve an advocate, and I would like to be that person. So I would appreciate your vote. Again, my name is Krista Holtzman. Thanks.
All right, first question. Your job as board directors would be to speak on behalf of students and teachers. How do you intend to accomplish this? We'll start with Mr. Abish.
As a board member, in order to effectively speak on behalf of students and teachers, I think there's a couple of elements to that. I think one is making sure that you're going out and visiting schools and being out there in the public as much as possible so that you are open and have the chance to speak with them on a one-to-one basis. And I also think that as a district, it's important that we make sure that we keep lines of communication open between the leadership and between the students and the public so that they feel that they have the opportunity to come up to us and speak to us whenever there is a problem so that we can figure out the best way to address it and resolve it in the quickest manner possible. And I think that coupled with setting a good example for good leadership on the board is also another crucial element to making sure that we can effectively speak for teachers and for students within the district.
One of the best things about running for this position in the last several months has been going out and engaging with the community, engaging with teachers, engaging with students, meeting with them, listening to what their interests are, listening to what they would like to see the district be. That is what this is all about, is being a member of the school board. And I feel my responsibility, my background is building consensus, going out and talking and working collaboratively with people is something I've been doing my whole life. I look forward to continue the conversations with these students. Just the other day, I was in Thunder Ridge High School meeting with one of their classes, talking about the upcoming election, talking about the process, talking about what it means to come out and vote as a member of your community. That is what being in this role is all about. It's all about listening and serving, going out, attending events, whether it's a basketball game, whether it's an orchestra concert, whether it's just coming in and hanging out with some kids with your kids are friends with. That's the kind of engagement that this seeks, and that's the level of engagement that you would see from me as a board member, going out, listening, serving, just hanging out with our community teachers and students.
Thank you. I'm going to work this. You want me to hold? I'm an electrician. I can figure this out. Thank you for the opportunity. By the way, go Eagles. I know you've got a couple soccer games tonight and you've got one football game coming up. Part of that is just having the opportunity to interface with our schools. As of this week, I will have had the opportunity to walk and talk with not only students and staff and principals and teachers through, I think, what will be now 14 schools by the end of this week. It is amazing to see the interaction. I've had the opportunity to walk with a ride-along with school resource officer and just observe. It's amazing the instruction and everything that's going on. I think primarily is being a good steward. Being a leader, by being a good steward, is listening, paying attention to the needs, reaching out to the students. We have great, fantastic teachers that deserve recognition and reward, and we have students that deserve opportunity and innovation inside their classrooms. And last, I would just say this. I'm a tradesman. I'm passionate to bring a discussion about vocational ed to our community here in Douglas County. So I look forward to sharing that a little later on.
Thank you. Let me see if it's still on. Randy, you messed up my mic.
Forgive me.
It's all right. Thank you. I know. How about I would just hold it? Did you start timing me yet? 'Cause it's not fair. I think I have an advantage because I love this work. It's part of who I am. I love talking to the kids. I love talking to the students. I love talking with the teachers. I love listening and serving as an educator. I am an educator, so it's the life I live. I think that if we model appropriate behavior and leadership, that's an important component of this position. If we participate in public events, if we're visible, if we're open and we're honest in our communication, that's how I feel that speaking. I don't know if we can speak for teachers, but we can speak with teachers, and then we can serve the needs of what we've heard. The same thing with students. There isn't anything better in this world than talking with students. There isn't anything that I live for more than that. So that just comes naturally, listening to the kids, loving what they have to say, thinking about how to support them in the community is just a natural step.
As all the other candidates have said, it's really fun to go talk to teachers and students. As I've seen some of you who are here, I just left Rock Canyon's parent-teacher conference night. So all the parents, a lot of parents were there, a lot of teachers were there, and it was really fun to catch up with a lot of the teachers we've had over the last few years, see a lot of our friends who live in the neighborhood, and we're all there talking about our kids. And that's one of the things I think that makes Douglas County great. Our parents are involved. Our parents care. The reason you're here, the reason this election matters is because our parents are engaged in their community. And I think that's part of what makes us great. We may not agree on everything, but the fact that we care about our kids and care about our schools is what really matters. I had a great conversation the other day with a principal who used to be a principal in another district, and he was marveling at the parent involvement and that the parents step in and they help and they work. And I'm with Chris. Hanging out with the kids is fun. I coached lacrosse and basketball and football and everything for a number of years, and it's always fun to see their perspective. And I think that as a board member is what we need to do, is remember that we're here for the community, for the kids and the teachers. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Leung. I have been practice talking to teacher and student for over 12 years with different type of committee, education committee that I serve. I run for elections for my kids' high school accountability, and I get the input and trying to see how I can help the parents and the student better. And I won. I get appointed to the counties, school districts, district accountability, and in my 3 years term, I go all over to talk to different school accountability committee, talk to a teacher, and come up with something that will be the best, so I can give the best advice to the district advisory committee. And currently, I was so fortunate to get appointed to the state education committee, thanks to Dr. Schaefer. She voted for me, and she thinks that I'm qualified. And in my state positions, I continuously to reach out, and I have attended more than 30 different schools, school accountability during my 2 years term. So I've been continuously involved parents, and not only that, I also serve in the principal's search committee for my kids' middle school, participate to make sure that my kids' middle school get the highest honor, is called School to Watch honor. So I am a doer, I have the experience, and I have the record to prove that I know how to talk to the parents and teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. Such an important question. You know, kids have to be in school. And so student voices should be the center of the decisions of the school board in Douglas County, because students are in school every day. Kids make up their mind about life while they're in school. They are set on a trajectory of success or not while they're in school. They have dreams and goals, and they begin to set their mind about what their interests are, what their gifts are. And so I think the first issue is making certain that student voices are at the center of decisions that the school board makes. That really comes by going to classrooms, talking to students, being present at activities, finding mechanisms, committees where students are representing the larger student body to hear their voices and what their goals are and what their dreams are for a wonderful student experience. As far as teachers are concerned, teachers hands down represent the biggest aspect of whether or not a child has a great educational experience. And so listening to teachers, going into classrooms, looking at what resources they need, determining what they need to be able to align with the standards and use the curriculum creatively and engage students in learning so that it's not a passive experience, but it's an active experience. So really it's all about listening and showing up and being in the trenches, in schools where the decisions are made and where people's ideas become animated for an awesome education.
And the question was, how will I speak on behalf of students and teachers? I think before I could even speak about their issues or make decisions that will affect them, like all of the other candidates, I need to hear their voices. And I have really enjoyed, over the past 15 years, hearing the voices of students, some my own children's friends, but many others in my work on the school accountability committees, and the voices of teachers. I've enjoyed that, and then over the past few months, as I've thought about and pursued this position, I've been honored to talk to many more of them. So those conversations would need to continue, and for me, this would be a full-time occupation. So I look forward to visiting all of the schools and attending all of the events and really enjoying this position, because this position, it's a huge, incredible amount of responsibility, but it would also bring me just a great amount of joy to be able to be involved in the school communities that I have been involved in for so long. So, so I would want to hear their voices, and then I would be able to speak with them in mind. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm really short. Yeah, it's a pain. All right. Hi, my name is Lauren Lippert, and I'm one of the senior editors here at Vista. So my next question is for Anthony Graziano. And the question is, what would you prioritize for the district if you were to be elected?
When it comes to prioritization in the district, I think there's several things that we got to focus on. First as a priority is putting together a great culture, restoring the culture of Douglas County schools again, so that we can then pave the way for improving and recruiting and retaining the best teachers in the district. Next, from that, we need to focus on all of our students. We need to ensure that all of the money, the great deal of money that we have in the district is focused on student initiatives, not administrative initiatives, not initiatives that are outside the expertise of a school district. And then lastly, another priority we need to really focus on is the fiscal accountability of the entire district. How we're spending all our dollars, making sure that across the board, dollars are being spent on where they're most needed, our teachers and our students. Those are the way, that's how I would prioritize these things in the district. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. I also believe that it starts with our stewardship on the board. I don't think it's of any surprise to most of you here and most of the public that there has been some discord there. And I think for us, or any of us candidates, that starts with a level of civility, a level of listening, understanding that there can be passionate differences about certain issues, but trying to come together, trying to collaborate on the foundational points, And I think it starts there. That builds trust. It builds trust into not only our administration, but as well into our community where it's most needed. Because that expresses itself to address certain issues that are very, very real. There are challenges that we're going to be called to attend to. And those are fiscal transparency, accountability at our administrative level, and ultimately for the impact of our students, that we produce students out of this district that are number one and continue a level of excellence like we've seen here recently with Douglas County. Thank you.
I'd prioritize student needs and academic achievement. I'd prioritize modeling leadership and professional conversations. Prioritize restructuring our budget expenditures to assure that we are meeting our student needs and our teacher needs. Retaining and recruiting high-quality teachers will be a priority. Our teachers are on the dance floor every day with our kids, and our teachers make a difference. So prioritizing what the teachers need is important. It's not just political, it's personal.
I think the first thing we need to prioritize is creating stability in the district. There's been so many previous boards that did not prioritize the district and took it in a direction that wasn't positive, that I think creating stability in our district is our first most important need. I think the second most important need is going line by line through the budget. They found $20 million in cost savings this year. They were budget cuts. It went from a $700 million budget to a $680 million budget. But between the para and the bond debt, we have fixed costs, but we really need to dig into every single line item. We need to make sure we know where the money's going. We need to make sure that every dollar is being accounted for. We have a fiduciary duty to the county, and once we can create stability, once we can tell the community where every dollar is going, I think we can start to rebuild their trust, because right now our community, I don't think, trusts the school board to a great deal. So stability and fiduciary duty are our first jobs. Thank you.
The number one things that face our school district is our financial lead. Our interim superintendents did a wonderful job of going all over the place to tell people we are in dire consequence. And in March this year, 7 different groups formed a subcommittee who said that we need more funding for the $300 million capital lead, and we pay $12,000 to $18,000 less to our teacher than the neighborhood school district. That is something matter a lot to our stability, because if you don't have a stable teacher and principal workforce in here, your school district do not have stability. If you don't have a safe environment for your children to study in, where they need to worry about their school is falling apart, they don't have stability. And unfortunately, Ms. Kane identified $20 million is only one-time saving. Even she admit that it's not going to happen, you know, and this is not a fix for that, and we need to have a board director that realize the importance of this matter and take action, not just more study or talk.
The number one priority, I would say, is to restore a culture of respect at the board meetings. Those board meetings are so essential for setting the table for solutions-based meetings so that Douglas County's issues can be addressed in a respectful, professional kind of way, Since 2015, there's been a lot of acrimony at those meetings, and it's not good modeling for our students, and it also doesn't create the context for solving problems that are essential and surface all the time in the district. So the first priority, I think, is to restore a culture of respect and professionalism at those meetings so that we can do the work of Douglas County, the teachers, the students, and the parents. Secondly, supporting teachers is essential. Teachers are the centerpiece of great education for every child. Hands down, they make the biggest difference, and we need to ensure that teachers have the resources they need to be successful and that they can differentiate instruction. We don't want a one-size-fits-all approach to education. You have kids, you know that their needs change over time throughout the course of their school careers, and that many options are necessary for parents and kids so that they can fulfill their greatest potential. So I think those three priorities are essential for us to really turn the district around and set it in a good direction. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So I agree with my opponent that there's been great dysfunction on our board, but I do not agree that it began in 2015. I believe that it began about 8 years ago. And since then, I'm surprised that my opponent doesn't realize that, because I know that she did endorse the reform board members in 2013 and 2015. It was in written publications, and the acrimony at that time was high. Those were times when we had parents like myself so concerned with the state of our district that we were standing in front of the Wilcox building with posters asking for our board members to focus on our students instead of political agendas. So I do agree that it needs to start with the leadership of our board, that we need to focus on students, that we need to be trustworthy when we spend our financial resources, which are already limited. We need money. If we find $20 million that's mostly one-time money, it should be going to our high schools, whose budgets were cut again this year. It should be going to our teachers, who got a 2% raise while our upper central administration got 10% bonuses. So my priority would be students.
Okay, hi there. My name is Serena Howard.
Down here.
Oh my God,
That's all right.
I thought we went all the way through.
I just need to set up taller in my chair, I suppose. Like everybody already pointed out, I think that the dissension that's already been existing within our district for the last couple of years is definitely something that needs to be worked on. That's definitely something that we as a board could work on together to help resolve. And I think that part of that involves making sure that we're setting a proper decorum within our board meetings so that we're not only conducting these meetings, but also being a good example of good leadership within the district. And I think that really filters down and ultimately helps with morale later on down. I think that as a board, we also need to make sure that we're making sound policy decisions and with the input of the public, so that we're making sure that we're always working towards the best interest of the children, teachers, and staff that make up our district. And lastly, with regard to our finances, it is correct. This is a multifaceted issue that does involve the local taxpayers, as well as maybe petitioning the state for potential reforms, but we need to work on what we can do as a district. And I think that involves making sure that we're operating in an open and transparent manner so the public can be reassured that we as a district are spending the funds that they already provide us in a proper and wise manner.
Okay, sorry about that again. My name is Serena Howard. I'm another senior editor on staff. And just a quick reminder, if we could hold the claps until the end of each candidate's, just so we don't cut off of any of their allotted time, we'd really appreciate that. But our next question, we're going to start with Randy Mills. The question is, many students don't know a lot about who their school board directors are. How would you bridge the gap between students and the board?
Thank you, Britta. Well, that's a fascinating question. That means that there has to be investment from us as board members to integrate and introduce ourselves to the student populace. I mean, that seems to me to be the most exciting and adventurous opportunity I would have as a board member, is to meet, understand what the aspirations of some of these students are, where they're going, what they're proud of, what their passions are. So I would be excited. I would look forward to it. I've tried to make an effort on the campaign trail by traveling through these schools to talk, to see how they're operating, to see how they're learning. That's actually quite exciting, and I really look forward to that. So appreciate the question, and hopefully I'm there.
Thank you. Bridge the gap between the students and the board. Again, I think it's a really exciting opportunity. We were invited to Thunder Ridge High School this week to talk with the kids in their government class. And it was an extraordinary opportunity to hear their thinking, to hear their questions, to be able to listen to the students and see what was important to them. We've been invited to several forums at the high schools, been able to talk to many of our students through our emails. I don't know how many questions I had on email from students in different government classes that I've been addressing, and it's a wonderful opportunity to just even hear their thinking and hear their questions. I would advocate that we wouldn't even have a gap, because we would have a community of conversation times that we'd be able to communicate, talk with each other, and see with student committees and opportunities to be in the schools with the students. So I'd really love to see that we were a part of what our kids wanted, what our kids needed, by being a part of the schools at all times.
I wonder if we should all get Snapchat. That might work.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's the way my kids communicate these days, is with Snapchat. They don't even I have to remind my kids to check their emails because they won't check their email otherwise. And I think that's part of the issue that we have sometimes is adults and especially people on a board operate in one manner and one way, and the kids operate in a different way. And I think it's incumbent on the parents and the board members to come down and make sure we're hearing what the students are saying. Having a senior in high school and a sophomore in high school and a sixth grader, I get a lot of time with the kids, and it's fun to listen to them and to hear what they're thinking about and how fast they process things these days. They get through these apps in like seconds, and it takes me weeks to figure them out. But I think we need to come down off our whatever you want to call it, and relate to the kids as opposed to the kids trying to relate to us. That's how I would try and bridge the gap.
Certainly, respect our student is a first starter, and situations where Ms. Grace Dawick's affair should not happen with the school board member. And another thing is we have a school advisory groups in the board right now, and we should listen to them more, and they are one of the group who suggest that we should put a meal levy and bond on the ballot. As a school board member, I think we should treasure our advisory groups, input and respect our students' opinions. And I hope my opponent will address whether he will respect, this student group's recommendations or not. And as I said, I have been volunteering for 12 years, and I do a lot of fundraising for the student groups in here, and I also give lecture to the high school. In fact, if you go to Rock Canyon High School, I give a talk about business and international business, and I also gathering some sort of Chinese New Year celebration event so they can understand more international culture. So. I really need to think that we need to treat our students, especially the high school, as a young adult, respect their opinions, and then work with them and talk to them more to understand them, which I did in the past 12 years.
Thank you. You know, communication melts differences and creates paths of understanding, and what we need to do to ensure that there is no gap is to communicate with students using vehicles and mechanisms that mean the most to them. That's really why we're here tonight, and looking to students to connect at any level that we can, through student council meetings, through coming to events like this, to having liaisons with the various schools, is a really important piece of ensuring that we have student voices with the school board that inform all the decisions. Schools exist for students, of course, and so having their voices is essential to think about what kinds of curricula, what kinds of scheduling, what kinds of opportunities should exist for their benefit. They are the ones that we really need to hear their voices, and so I look forward to those avenues of communication, which can be really ubiquitous across all the decisions that the board would be making.
I would want students to know that I am open and available to learning from them. As a volunteer in my own children's classrooms, I am humbled by the things that I have learned from students. Even when I was a 6th grade math group leader, I would learn math from some of our 6th grade students that I had forgotten. So I'm constantly amazed at what I can learn from students, and I would have the time to be available to meet with them. I think, as Kevin said, the student advisory committee that we've had over the past couple of years has been really helpful, and I think that'd be a great opportunity for us. And I would also just want to attend the events that are open to the public and feel what the culture of a school is like, and try to be a part of that in as much of a way as I'm invited to be. So, thanks.
Thank you for the great question, and I'd like to note this isn't really an issue, this gap that only exists in Douglas County. I'm thinking back to the days when I was in school a long time ago. I attended school in a district that very similar to Douglas County, at least in size, is Chesterfield County out in Virginia, central Virginia by Richmond. And I don't think I could name one person who sat on the local school board back when I was in school. But I think this question really dovetails nicely into the first question that was asked. And I think that part of the way to bridge this gap, it comes down to two things. One is just good old-fashioned shoe leather, making sure that when we're serving on the board, we're going out to the schools, meeting with students, going out to all of the events that we have at the schools, making sure that we're visible and getting down there and chatting with everybody. And I think the other one is making sure that as directors on the board, that we have an open door policy, that anyone, be it student or teacher, who wants to meet with us should have the opportunity to do so, because that's ultimately who we're serving by having the privilege of working on the school board here in Douglas County.
I think back to the conversation I had the other day with one of the students at Thunder Ridge, and seems like we're on the way of bridging that gap, because he asked me if do you feel like a celebrity running for school board? So I kind of thought, well, not quite. Well, I'm just a mouthpiece for the community. But to really bridge the gaps, I think of modeling great behavior. One of the reasons why I wanted to run, outside of some of the things I said earlier, was modeling behavior for my kids. We we all are passionate about a lot of things. You talk about a lot of things, but sometimes you just have to go out there and model that behavior for your kids, and then as a member of the school board, by extension, then your community and students. So that journey for me has begun in the last several months. As I go out and talk to the community, attend events, I'm always wearing this pin. I'm always open to talking with people. My wife knows more people than I can count. And so it's just all about being out there and modeling behavior and getting students interested about what this is all about and how important it is to our community, because they are going to be the stewards and the champions of this community in the future. We need to set the tone for them going forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Olave, and as you may have guessed, I am a senior editor. And so we are going to start with Chris Shore for this next question. How would you make sure that every aspect of a school is financially supported for students? As an example, the arts.
Thank you, Michaela. I do think that what we would need to do is restructure our budget and look at everything that is in our budget, look under every couch curtain, every couch cushion, under the curtains, behind the door, in the car, to see where every dime and every penny is and how we're spending every dime and every penny. And then we focus and prioritize all of those specific pennies to go towards student needs first. So I think after we were to examine what our budget looks like, where we are in the process, how we can prioritize our needs, then we would need to look at how do we then have more money for our schools and our teachers and our kids. And it's only 30 seconds, there's a little bit of time to talk a minute about, even Superintendent Kane has shown our community throughout this year that we do need to look at prioritizing our budget, and they have done a good job of taking some different things and shifting it around. Now it's time to look at how do we support our kids and our resources even more with a bond and a mill levy.
I think that's a great question. Thank you. I think we do need to prioritize. I was meeting with the principal of Buffalo Ridge the other day in my neighborhood, and he has more gifted and talented students than he does IEP students. He has a lot of money in his IEP budget, and he had $14,000 in his gifted and talented budget. So we really do need to figure out how to prioritize. And one of the ways we have to prioritize is really, you're not going to find it under couch cushions, you're not going to find it behind curtains, you're going to find it by making really hard decisions about how you're going to operate. And I think the first thing you do is try to understand exactly what you want to do, and the last thing you do is go try and ask the voters to approve an MLO. The past two MLOs have failed to pass in our county, and I think the level of trust, 80% of the people in Douglas County today believe that the school board does not do a good job managing its money. 80% do not believe we do a good job. So we have to convince the community that we know exactly what's going on before you go ask them for a raise. The first day on the job, I don't think you should go ask your boss for a raise. That's the way I look at it. So I think we do need to prioritize and make students first, make teachers first, really decentralize and make sure the kids are going to, the money's going to the right place. Thank you.
To make sure that every aspect of the school programs like art is being adequately funded, we need to stop cutting secondary school budget. And also, we need to find resources so that we need to restore the elective that has been cutting since 2012 in our county. And that is the reason why we have so much discourse since 2012 with people demonstrated, with student leaders walk out. And also, we need to be honest to ourselves. $14,000 is a small job in a multi-million-dollar budget in a school. If you think that those kind of money will be able to restore an arts program, you probably don't know how much an arts program or music program costs, or a teacher to educate it and teach those costs. And we must understand and respect our students. And as I said, students in this March loudly said that we need the money so that we have a safe school to be in. It is our boss' responsibility to put the ballot question out. It is the taxpayers' responsibility to pass it or not. To take away the taxpayers' ability to decide that is a wrong thing to do. We're not listening to our community.
Such an important question. As others have said, I think prioritizing the funds is the very first thing that needs to be done so that we put instruction and teachers at the core of budgetary decisions. That's the priority. Those priorities need to be put in place initially. Secondly, I would like to give a shout out for some of the committees in Douglas County that have met and have identified some of the needs, which are true needs in the county. And those advisory committees and recommendations have been very helpful and will be going forward. But ultimately, it is the public that will decide on any kind of a tax increase. And as has been referenced, the public currently has a trust issue with how the funds are currently being spent. So the first thing that has to happen is prioritize. Secondly, restore trust with the public. And third, let the public decide in terms of any type of a tax increase after we've shown that we can be good stewards of the current funds.
I agree that we need to prioritize our spending based on student needs. We need to direct more money to classrooms. But what we know is, and we've known for years, that our schools do not have the financial support they need to help with our student achievement, to decrease our teacher turnover. We know this. The Long Range Planning Committee, the Fiscal Oversight Committee, our current interim superintendent, we know this. We have over $300 million in capital needs. We have teachers who aren't paid competitive wages and can cross the county line and make $17,000 more in Cherry Creek. So at some point, we have to stop talking about it, and we have to give our community the opportunity to respond and to support our students. And I do agree that, you know, our board over the past 8 reform years has made some questionable decisions about what to do with the money. It has gone in places like $16 million in software instead of in our classrooms, but this is a consequential election, and I believe that the candidates that are here that have been in our community have the trust of our community, and I believe that our community will listen and make that decision if we give them the opportunity.
With regard to our budget, it is a complex issue, and there are multifaceted resolutions to it. Part of it is would come down to the local taxpayers. Part of it would involve trying to make reforms with the state legislature and trying to lead that movement from our end. But as a board, we need to focus on what we can actually do as a board with the funds that we already have, because some of those other solutions are a little bit out of our control. So I think that with a $680 million budget, we need to make sure that, as everybody already mentioned, that we're focusing on prioritizing our funds, making sure that those funds are going to the right places where they can make the biggest difference for the students and teachers within our district. We need to make sure that financially we're operating openly and transparently, and so that the public can see how the district is spending its money, so that the public can be reassured that these funds are being spent properly. And lastly, we also need to make sure that we're being good fiduciaries of the money that we already receive, that we're finding savings where we can. And regardless of whether the $20 million already mentioned was a one-time savings or not, it's the proper attitude to take when we are looking at our budget. And we should be doing that more regularly as a board.
So, regards to every, making sure we're looking at every aspect, financially supported, doing it right. First thing I would ask that we would consider is a real look at budgets and the history from a longitudinal study of what we're spending every year. There's been a big gap in what the numbers that have been presented year over year showing what those breakouts are. So I think it would be very advantageous as a board to be able to have that visibility provided to us by the district. The next thing I would really start to look at is, we have heard time and again from people in the community that we are to trust, school accountability, long-range planning, all the different groups that really help run the district, that there is a need for additional funding, that we need to go out with this. So if we're not listening to those groups, what exactly as a board are we doing? We are going to be elected in December. If we are not going out and taking the opportunity with all that information of evaluation that we have put together over the last course of years, what are we doing as a board? The onus is on us to make a decision. The information is there. Now we need to go out to the community. We, as a group, I as a member of the board, support asking the community and going to them. If we're not doing that, what as board members exactly are we doing?
Thank you, Michaela. Appreciate that. I think the end of your question said, how does our budgeting process support the arts? And I think the arts are actually very important. They're a core curriculum, and an example is just what you're doing here tonight as your journalism department, which has been awarded a number of recognitions, is evidence of. So congratulations to your department and to your instructors. What a marvelous job. I believe the arts are important, and I believe that's both a macro and micro discussion. And you've heard the macro here just over the last few minutes, but the micro one is site-based budgeting. It's the opportunity to give the autonomy to a principal and the leaders to kind of direct where those funds need to go. And I hope they support the arts because I believe they're very important. The macro one up here is that the district has a number of financial challenges. They're real. The listening part is as important about these groups that have come together and identified these issues, but it's also listening to the surveys of the electorate out there. And that is where trust comes in. That is where we have to earn the trust of the public to demonstrate what those needs are. Thank you.
In the DCSD employee survey from the fall of 2016, only 1% of teachers reported that they completely trust the school board. How do you intend to fix this so that teachers can be happy with their job and best serve the students of this school? We're going to start with you, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you. Yes, that is, in the entire survey, that is one of the most disturbing stats that's in there. That the teachers, who are the most important aspect of the school, do not trust the board. It's imperative that the board stop acting like the kids and have start acting like adults. I think in 2009, I've been here for 23 years. We've watched it come and go. There was financial mismanagement back then. That the reform board, as they're called, actually stepped in and saved the district from a lot of financial peril. Well, it's just facts, sorry. The district was in big trouble, and the previous superintendent had done a bad job. The discourse and the websites and all the in the community, all the problems that we've create the discourse that makes the school board not trustworthy by the teachers. The teachers don't trust the school board. So somehow we have to arrest that. We have to make it better. And I think the teachers need to understand, and the school board needs to understand each other better. It's not a one-way street. I think it's a two-way street that we have to improve on.
To rebuild the trust is to be honest. This is the district survey, 2017 district survey. It is on the district's website, and it shows that 57% of the taxpayer will support a meal levy if it's to pay the teacher. I'm happy to take it down to you. So to misquote figure, to just trying to spin and not answering a simple yes or no questions to see whether we are going to give the taxpayer a chance to decide to vote for the meal levy or not is a wrong thing to do and doesn't show leadership for you to be a school board director. And the discourse of our teacher started at 2012 when the current pay for performance system is imposed. And that's right, our current school board has very low trust level. So please do not elect the people that aligned with the majority of the school board. You can clearly, looking at the last 4 debates, who does not give people chance to vote for mill levy? Who support the current pay-for-performance system that is ruining our teachers' morale? Who will continue to support voucher? You can make a choice just by based on those answer to those questions. Thank you.
Yes, the 1% is a very disturbing statistic because no school district can support excellent instruction and wonderful opportunities for kids without the teachers' buy-in, without respecting them, without them loving to come to work every day. That is priority number one. And I believe that the reason that that figure is so low is because of the politicization of the meetings, of the issues, of the messaging. Politics has dominated those meetings, particularly since 2015, and that is not the way forward in order to gain the trust of teachers, to provide them the kind of support and respect they deserve, to provide them the kind of resources they need to be successful with every child, differentiate instruction, have the right kind of instructional support that they need. And so I think the path forward is to ensure that politics is taken out of these decisions, that teachers and students and parents are the centerpiece of the decisions of the board, and that teachers feel that respect and feel that professionalism in terms of their central role in the educating our children and our adolescents in Douglas County.
This is a consequential election, and I'm not sure how many all of us up here that are trying to serve your schools, how many teachers we've all talked to, but I know that I have talked to hundreds at this point. And they've come to my coffees. I've had open coffees on Wednesdays. I've seen them in a lot of different situations. And what they tell me is that they're waiting on this election to decide their future with Douglas County. So I agree that politics have no place. It's a nonpartisan election, and we should be focused on students and our teachers and listening to their voices. And I'm just so confused by some of the statements that have been made, saying that in 2009, Dr. Fagan came in at the hiring of that board and fixed our financial problems. I'm confused because a couple of forums, for the last few forums, I thought everyone was saying that Dr. Fagan was horrible. So I'm just really confused and at a loss. But the answer to this question is we have to listen to our teachers. They need a voice in our curriculum, our instruction, and they need to know that we see them as professionals and respect them.
Thank you for the great question. I think with regard to this 1% statistic, with regards to trusting the board, it's very troubling. And addressing that is going to take a lot of work from anyone who's going to serve from the board. I know that part of that is obviously tied into teacher salary, which ultimately is a taxpayer issue. But as a board, what can a board do on its own? A board can lead by example, making sure that it provides stable leadership that has proper decorum in its meetings and treats everybody within the district with the respect that they deserve. Part of it also, there we go, I'm louder. Part of that also goes to making sure that we're giving teachers the freedom to do what it is that they're in this profession to do, and that's teach. And I know that Ms. Holtzman just mentioned the last superintendent and that nobody had said she's awful. I'm more than happy to say that. That world-class curriculum that she's imposing on teachers a few years ago, that was not a good curriculum. Micromanagement is never a good approach, and I think that as a board we need to make sure that we aren't inserting ourselves needlessly. Part of being a good board member is swallowing your pride and making sure that you're stepping out of the way so that teachers can just do what they mean to do what they need to do, and that's teach and getting as much needless paperwork and regulation that we can out of their day-to-day activities.
Just keep saying it. 1%. 1%. Think of your own day where you work, your career. If you have that level of trust in your organization, 1%. We just kind of are tossing that around as a 1%. Oh yeah, we can do these things. 1% to me in my world would be, everything would be upside down. We can't, what that number says to me is we need a change. We need to change into the people who are working on the board, who are community focused, who are going to listen to the teachers, who have a history of engaging with their teachers, volunteering with their teachers, serving with their teachers. 1% is scary. That is beyond, you know, you're taking it so lightly. We need to change the atmosphere of what's going on in our district, and I think it's through community-focused leadership, people who are involved in the schools, who have kids who have just come out of schools, in the schools. That's what we need to do to bridge the gap, to get over that to improve 1% people having trust in the district with the board. That's scary.
Well, thank you. It's clear there's a theme about trust here, and it's real. And such a number is astonishing. It speaks to what we have to do as a board member to regain that trust. It's not just the teachers, it's also the public. The public in some of the same surveys have indicated as much as 70% don't trust the fiscal accountability of the district. So we have to regain that so that we can reach out and attend to some other issues that are also quite important. I think it starts with building culture back at the teacher level. As I mentioned, both my mom and my father were teachers. My dad over 30 years. And in his passing just a few years ago, I was moved by how many responded via Facebook, 65-year-olds that said, hey, he was amazing. He was monumental and transformative in my way. My dad was a business teacher. That is the nobility. That is the scholarship of a teacher. And I, like no other, want to support increasing their pay, their recognition, and their reward. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
With extensive experience working with teachers in my 40 years, I can say with certainty that teachers are committed to their students and their schools. I have confidence that with training and an emphasis on a positive culture, Douglas County schools will be able to keep and build the best experienced teachers and have trust, because they'll be respected and honored as professionals. Decisions based on students' needs would facilitate this tone to occur. Reconsidering teacher pay bands and using a growth model evaluation system will go a long way in securing our teaching staff long term. Let me address this question of trust. Trust occurs when open and honest communication happens. Leaders take a stand. Being honest with what one believes is trust. If we want to build trust, as I keep hearing in this campaign, then let us answer our questions honestly. We're at a crucial point in Douglas County, and teachers matter. So let's listen to our teachers, and let's rebuild that kind of trust.
Hi, me again. So the next two questions are actually going to be 45 seconds because we're running out of time. So this question will start with Kevin Lung, and the question is, what advice would you give a high school student who wants to take advantage of their education?
What I would tell the high school student is, go with what your heart desire. You know, our education's model right now is to focus on the academic achievement and then going to college. It's not necessarily something that you have to do. If you want to go to, you know, be an electrician, just like Randy, and that's a great thing. More vocational training. I own a small business. I need a lot of mechanic, and there's nothing wrong with that. So make sure that you do something that you truly enjoy in your life, and do not, you know, just go with your heart, and you'll be much happier, you know, when you go out to the workforce. And vocational training is important. And if I get elected, I'll make sure that I'll expand the opportunity for that. And despite, you know, we have so many great options right now.
Yeah, taking advantage of an educational opportunity is so essential and so important. So many kids in other countries don't have the opportunity. So I would always tell students, be your own advocate. Teachers are there for you. They want to create great opportunities. And so self-advocacy by students is really an important piece of advice. Secondly, be respectful to your teachers. They're there because they love you, they love education, they love knowledge and learning and inquiry, and they're there to help ignite that same flame in you. And so you can learn from each other, but a great partnership between students and teachers is essential. Also, read all you can and apply yourself. Such a great opportunity to be in school. You won't always be in school and have that opportunity, so take all the advantage you can of being very industrious, take your work seriously, and think big and dream, because that's what school's about.
So my advice to a high school student who wants to take advantage of their education. So what comes to mind, and I hope you'll indulge me just a little bit, is the advice that I gave to my recently graduated high school students. And I have always told them to challenge yourself, but not just academically. Challenge yourself socially, you know, meet new people, go over to the lunch table and introduce yourself to someone you don't know. Seek out diversity. Challenge yourself physically. You know, one of our children loved to do sports, one of them didn't, but we encourage both of them to find things that they enjoy doing, to be healthy and to explore and be adventurous. So I guess the two things I would tell a student is to challenge yourself, you know, take the hard class, be courageous, and if, I'm sorry, 45 seconds, I forgot, and to explore and be adventurous. Thanks.
My advice would be to point out that, like the old Rolling Stones song, time is on your side at this point in your lives. You've got the opportunity now to wrap yourself up into things and study things that you might not have the opportunity to take advantage of later on in life. So find something that you really love to study and then buckle down and work at it as hard as you can, because later in life you will reap the benefits of it. You won't have any regrets when you get older. My other advice would be to make sure you get involved in extracurriculars, not just because it's a good thing to do, but it's going to expose you to other people and other areas that you might not have even thought of, but find out that you have an incredible passion for, and it could really help shape your life in the future. So just take advantage of all the time that you have right now and do something that you love.
My advice to the students would be your ceiling is unlimited. I think back to when I first moved to Colorado and telling my parents after I graduated, thinking I was crazy, like how would I ever want to do this? Then I think of how things have changed when I took my kids on a year-long trip and all they got to experience. And as you get out in the world, you just see that your ceiling is unlimited. And as a student, you can do anything. We did college tours last year, and I was just always amazed at all the schools, what the opportunities are. So I would just say to all the students, when you think you've come up with the most incredible thing you can do, you probably can go another level higher, because there's even more great, incredible things out there. It's truly, your ceiling is unlimited.
Well, this week, horrific events can't not make you contemplative, right? And so I was thinking, hear recently what a parent would want to say to their young son or daughter as they cross the stage to pick up a diploma. And I thought about this, what would be my advice? And I would say hope, because there is opportunity out there. We're in the most amazing country in the world. I've had the opportunity to live abroad. And then 2, purpose. I mean, understand what your purpose is, that you have an ability to contribute to our community. And 3, that we have an amazing district here that is going to prepare you in ways not only academic, but I also believe the future is vocational ed to expose you to opportunities within the skilled work trades.
Get out of your comfort zone. Do something you never thought you'd do, like run for the Board of Education. Communicate, be involved, be active, challenge your thinking. Live your life doing something that you love, and you'll never have to feel like you're at work. Contribute and be respectful.
So I'll go back a long time ago when I was in high school. I was the editor of our yearbook, and we had to share a dark room, for those old enough to remember dark rooms, with the high school staff, with high school newspaper staff. There was a guy in the newspaper staff who was in theater, and he was kind of dorky, but he was absolutely hilarious. And he pursued his passion. So Trey Parker was a year younger than me at Evergreen, and he is one of the funniest guys in the world. But he pursued it. He went to CU and he started studying business, but he went into movie. He switched to the theater department. So if you find you're good at something, chase it. Really figure it out. And that's one of the cool things about getting out of school, is you get to learn about what else is out there in the world. So chase your passion.
Okay, so this is going to be our last question of the night before we head to closing statements. This one will also be 45 seconds. This question is kind of an opportunity for you guys to relate to high school students, we feel. So the question is, what was your favorite or best experience from when you were in high school? And we're going to start with Deborah Schafel.
Yeah, what a great question. You know, all of us have such fond memories of high school, I'm sure. I sure do. And some of my favorite memories were just all the sports events, the sense of camaraderie, the sense of community, the sense of teamwork, all those skills that you learn in high school that just make the experience so very winsome and engaging. And I just appreciated my teachers and the investment they made in me and all of my classmates, and just the wonderful events we'd go to together. Loved to be involved in sports and cheerleading and that kind of thing. And it was a great time to just make lifetime friendships. I've been to some of the reunions from my high school, and some of those friendships just are very precious. And so those are some great memories I have, and I'm sure you feel similarly.
I have so many memories from high school, even though that seems like a really long time ago. But I will tell you that there were some tough times in high school. There were some, it was challenging at times. But I do have some favorite memories, and those are memories where I took my own advice. I guess I was taking it back then, and I went way beyond my comfort zone and did things that I wouldn't have guessed I would do. I almost hate to admit it, but I used to sing in high school musicals, and that was pretty scary, but it is now a favorite memory that I have. So I'm glad that I did that, and I also don't regret the times that I failed, because I learned from those too.
Oh gosh. I'm so sorry.
Slipping here.
Like everyone here on the board, I have a lot of great memories of high school. Yeah, I'm sure none of us would be running for the board if we didn't remember school so fondly. For me, I remember all my friendships. I'm going back to Virginia for my brother's wedding, finally, this winter. And so I get to go and revisit all my friends that I've kept in touch with over the years, and I can't wait to do that. I played football and I ran track when I was in high school, and I have a lot of great sports-related memories. And I was also such a big history and government nerd that I was in AP US history, AP European history, and I got to attend Boys State, Virginia Boys State, put on by the American Legion for government when I was in high school. All of those are incredibly fond memories, and sorry to wax nostalgic, but that's just what springs to mind for me right now.
Well, it certainly wasn't dating, so we get that out of the way. Brutal. But for me, the best memories I have of high school were playing for, soccer for Coach Mills and Coach Hamilton. The spirit there and the camaraderie we had as Calhoun Colts was awesome. And what's even better today, of course, one of a decent use of social media is telling the same jokes to people that I knew back in the 80s, and they're still hilarious today. So those connections are still real, and it was certainly a great time to be a kid growing up.
Well, with two teachers as parents, you not only go to school during the day, but you come home to school during the night. My dad invested a lot of time in us in school, and I'm going to take a little liberty. I'm going to go back to when I was 11 years old, because it's kind of a fun fact. I was running through the school hall, yelling and screaming, being rambunctious, and blasting out the school doors. And it was actually an opportunity for a job. I was in the 1971 Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So the opening there, maybe you'll see a glimpse, but it allowed me to learn the dignity of work. And so skiing, soccer, fantastic memories.
I'm an arts advocate because of a memory that I have from high school. I play the flute, and I had the opportunity to play with the Denver Symphony Orchestra when I was in high school during the summer. And being surrounded by professional musicians and the musicality of that experience created a whole lifeline for me for the rest of my life. So that is dear and near to my heart, and the arts are near and dear to my heart for that reason.
As I mentioned earlier in high school, my favorite memories of high school are just being with my friends. We grew up in a small town in Evergreen. We all grew up together from we all knew each other from first grade on. And one of the things, if I can pass along any advice, is keep your friends. Friends are a gift, and I'm lucky enough to, our fantasy football league still has 12 of us from high school together. We still get together. There's probably 50 of us between 4 or 5 years in Evergreen that we all still get together, and it's great to reminisce. And as Anthony said, you tell the same joke, and 30 years later, it's still funny. So, thank you.
I was in Hong Kong at that time. My 8 family members is living in a 200 square feet apartment. I need to worry about whether I have enough to eat every day because my father was a cook and my mother is a homemaker. High school is a very tough experience for me because I am in a very good school, but since I'm very poor, I need to make sure that I have my grade good enough so that I can still stay in the school and get scholarships and don't have to have my family to worry about anything to support me. So at that time, I learned to be self-reliant. I learned that if you want to set your mind to do something, nobody can tell you that, Kevin, you're not good enough, you're not qualified enough. That is something, the memories that I cherish the most, and also the love of my parents. And I'm so grateful I, a poor immigrant, have the opportunity to come here to sit in front of you and ask for your vote for the school board.
would like to invite all of the candidates now to tell us their closing statements, and if we could remind everybody to try to keep it to a minute, please. Starting with Ms. Krista Holtzman.
Thank you again for being here tonight. I really do appreciate your time, and I appreciate your concern for our community's public schools. Serving our community on the Board of Education would be an honor, and I look forward to taking action to put students first by restoring a focus on student growth and achievement, by reducing teacher turnover, and providing trustworthy, student-focused management of our resources. I will also put students first by being a board member who models working together for the good of students. Just as I have done as an attorney working in child protection, I was successful at building consensus by focusing all the parties at the table on what was in the best interest of the child. And this is the same thing I will do as a school board member. Ultimately, there are 68,000 reasons why I am asking to serve on our community's Board of Education, and I would appreciate your support. And again, my name is Krista Holtzman.
My name is Deborah Scheffel, and you know, we prepare our kids for a time that we may not see. And it's essential that we take that work very seriously and are good stewards of the opportunities for leadership that we have. I'm running for the Douglas County School Board because I think it's essential, and I want to support a system, a district where teachers love to come to work every day, where they feel respected and can do their best professional work, where they have the resources needed to differentiate instruction so that every child can have an excellent educational experience. I'm running because I want students to feel that they have the opportunity to thrive and succeed every single day they come to school. And I'm running for the school board because I want parents to feel they have lots of options for their kids, because needs change throughout the years a child is in school, and there's always a need for opportunities and different options for students, because no child is just like another child. I know how to serve on a board. I served on the State Board of Education for 6 years, a volunteer position, and I want to restore respect and productivity to that board in service to all the students, teachers, and parents in Douglas County. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Leung. Once elected, I will work to retain and recruit the best teacher, bring back education excellency for our kids, and restore trust and accountability. To restore trust and stability, our school district needs someone like me who has a proven track record of success in working with others. I demonstrate this ability when serving on Education's Committee on the state, district, and the school level for 12 years. Our school board lead director who will give clear and honest answer on simple questions, which I demonstrated here tonight. And as you can see, people do not trust the current school board. And me and my opponents has a clear difference in our ideology, and he is being more closely aligned with the current board's philosophy in terms of voucher, pay for performance, and the tax questions. Again, my name is Kevin Leung. Thank you very much, and I hope to have your vote this November.
Again, my name is Grant Nelson, as it says up front here. As I'm running for school board to try and restabilize our district. I think we need true leaders in our community. I think we need people who are financial stewards, who don't just listen to what people say. They go into the community, they understand what needs to be done, and they try and deliver. A couple of things here tonight. The $20 million that were cuts, is my understanding that $7 million of that is an ongoing savings. It wasn't just a one-time savings. I think we need to be honest with our community. I think we need to be direct with our community. And I think we need to find a way to bridge the gap. As we've said in the past couple debates, I'm not part of the Reform Board. I wasn't part of the Reform Board. I'm not aligned with them. I don't know them. It keeps throwing around, but I just want to make clear I am not part of it. I think that the most important thing we need to do is focus on our community, focus on our teachers, focus on our kids. I'm Grant Nelson, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I'm an educator with knowledge and expertise in school systems and structures, school improvement processes, procedures, collaborative conversations, and problem solving. Why does this matter, you may ask? It matters when we're working to build trust, accountability, and stability in our school district. Trust requires your board members to take a position of leadership and action, to communicate and to listen to all voices in the conversation before making critical decisions. Your public school board of education should serve your public schools, all of them. A person builds trust and accountability through their actions. My actions have been dedicated to public schools throughout my life. My actions are dedicated to all children in our public school environments. Leadership is how we do our work and how we live our lives. As a Board of Education member, I will utilize my leadership experiences, and I will work with our board members to make sure we put students first, have quality schools, and financial accountability in every decision. I'm Chris Shore, and I ask for your support.
Well, thank you tonight, Mountain Vista. What a fantastic forum. I'm Randy Mills, and I appreciate this opportunity just to speak with you. I look forward to showing Stuart leadership on the school board. I often start off talking about how I'm so well blessed, our family, with the amazing community here in Douglas County, whether it be Highlands Ranch or even down in Castle Rock where I'm at now. That embrace is amazing, and that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about running today. I will tell you that I am a 25-year business owner, obviously a proud father of 2 rodeo girls, and I'm passionate about vocational act. I think I can bring that capacity to Douglas County with a vision looking forward. That's one of the reasons we've lifted our name up, our brand as Elevate, and I look forward to bringing collaboration between the private sector, the district, and our municipalities. We can have a premier district with opportunities not only academically, but also vocationally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mountain Vista, for a great evening. Again, my name is Anthony Graziano, and I'm a 13-year resident of Douglas County. I'm running again to put students first, restore the quality of all of our schools, and also ensure financial accountability. Douglas County needs a leader at this time that will listen to the community and take visible action on the tough issues we are facing around teacher retention and the need for funding. I moved here 13 years ago from Littleton because Douglas County was a destination district. I have met incredible people along the way, principals, teachers, students, across my days at Soaring Hawk Elementary, Castle Rock Middle School, and Castleview High School. I have rolled up my sleeves at all kinds of events. I've taken advantage of the choices here by homeschooling my girls for a year. We are at a pivotal point. You need to ask yourself tonight is what type of person do you want in this role? If you are concerned about the things we discussed tonight, I ask you to please vote for me because community matters, and I'm committed to making Douglas County Schools a great district again.
And on a bit of a lighter note, I don't know how great the lighting is out there, but I don't know if anyone noticed that I'm wearing an orange tie tonight. And that's not because we're in the middle of pumpkin spice season, but it's also because I'm a pretty big Broncos fan. And there's a little date I like to throw out that's part of Broncos trivia. It's December 6, 2010. And I won't quiz anyone on it, but that was the day that Josh McDaniels was fired after he lit our team on fire, and they're a disaster afterwards. I remember thinking, wow, is there any way this day could possibly get better? And for me it did, because 2 hours later my daughter was born. And she's the ultimate reason why I'm here tonight. And as parents, we do everything that we can for our children. And we really deserve a school board that takes the same approach towards all the children within our school district and puts aside any petty differences and does the hard work necessary that we need to make sure that we're training up our children properly, that we are putting them first, putting the student over the system, and making sure that we're doing everything we can as a district to shape Colorado's leaders of tomorrow. I'm Ryan Abrish, and thank you very much for your time this evening.
talking. All right. On October 16th, the ballots will be mailed to all registered voters in the county. Our major goal for hosting this event is to help voters make an informed decision. When marking the ballot, we want voters to put students first, not politics. On behalf of Mountain Vista Media, the students, and all other members of the Mountain Vista community, I want to thank all of the candidates for the Board of Education for attending tonight's event. We appreciate your thoughtful responses and hope that this event has given you the opportunity to share your vision with the community. We also would like to thank the audience for attending this forum. Your support has been vital in making our education in general and this event in particular possible. One more note to the candidates. Finally, a big shout out to Principal Weaver and Mr. Segley, our activities director, for supporting us in creating this experience. Personally, I would like to thank Mark Newton and my MV Media editorial staff colleagues because I've been going crazy for the past 2 months planning this. And while getting ready for this forum, they've had my back the entire time, and they've been there to support me through all of it. And that's been pretty important to me. And my hope is that once elected, these candidates and the returning board members will all come together like we did. Wouldn't that be cool? And thanks. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight and supporting our program and for supporting students in Douglas County. Have a good night.